Today, we look at Emma trying to make friends when she shouldn't have. We also look at Maya and her depression from next class, and we also look at an OG that basically wasn't talked about much in Next Generation Forwards that should have been. All this and more on this episode of Degrassi. Whatifs? Hey there, Chef Cutter Diamond, and welcome you to a brand new episode of Degrassi Whatifs. And we got three very serious ones. Although it must be said that the first one is not as serious as the other two, but it's the same crap. Alright, so the first what if is basically all about Emma and making friends. Now, let me explain. Emma had a strong friendship with Manny for many years of the Next Generation phase. And their friendship withstood a lot of problems, including Emma's supposed jealousy of Manny making the Spirit Squad and all that. And basically thinking that Manny will be sexualized because she's a cheerleader, to basically having to deal with Manny trying to be sexualized, and Emma feels that Manny would be taking advantage. Season 3, of course, and then Manny breaks up with Emma. Manny's pregnancy that Emma thinks she should carry the baby full term and put the kid up for adoption. And all that. How Manny abandoned Emma in season 4 when Emma needed her the most. Fighting about Peter when Emma basically was still having fondness of Peter, even though that he screwed over Manny. And basically the day JT got stabbed, and how Emma wanted to talk about it, but Manny seemed to not want to be with Emma. She also had a what called a friendship with Liberty, although it wasn't much of a friendship at that. She had friendships with other characters and all that, even Toby, but Toby was more fond of her than he is of her. Of her than he hurt with him. Screwed that one up. Anyway, so yeah. But basically, when Emma went off to college, she went off to college with Manny and Liberty, and basically spent her energy basically keeping the friendship alive and all that. And of course, throughout season 8 and 9, she's just basically portrayed as somebody who basically values friendship over all else. And basically, she was just, trying hard to make friends and all that so badly that things fell apart, especially in college, because remember when they did Degrassi Goes Hollywood and Manny chases down a Hollywood role that Paige ended up getting by accident? And basically Liberty went to pre-law and all that. Yeah, we all know that. So basically what I'm trying to get at, guys, is that Emma has spent more energy trying to make friends in her final few seasons of being a regular than basically studying hard and trying to help people and all that. Of course, this does boil down to the Rick Brody situation, which of course is dark, kind of like the next two storylines I'm going to say, the what ifs. But anyway, yeah, she basically admits that she's trying to make friends so badly that, she's falling behind in school. And she still wants to help people, even though that she doesn't seem to be wanting to help people. Because with the Rick Brody situation is that we noticed a significant drop-off of Emma's Cosgrove effect. Basically, she didn't really have too many causes, except for season 6 when she was trying to campaign for Sean to have a better lawyer because of what happened with him and Peter in a street fight. And basically, in season 7, when Purple Dragon came on, and then Emma realized that Purple Dragon's policies were terrible, and so she decided to go back to being the Cosgirl because she was going to fall under that same spell as having an eating disorder. So basically, Yeah. And basically, yeah, that was all she did. She lost her drive. And basically, I think she just basically blamed herself for everything to do with Rick's situation. Say that if she hadn't stuck her nose in it, maybe she would not have been targeted by Rick. But Rick would have been obsessed with Emma no matter what, I think, in my mind. So, anyway, the what if is what if Emma had not spent so much energy making friends? Well, Emma would be a brain. She would basically be, smart enough. She would be very successful. I don't know what she even does. Throwback Thursday didn't offer what Emma's career path was. That would tick me off. But, like, Emma may have been an environmental crusader. She might have been doing political science. I don't know. I mean, when you think about it, I mean, Emma wanted to be with friends, and Emma wanted to, make friends because she felt like she's nothing. So you figure, like, Emma basically would be a career woman instead of trying to chase friends and all that. It's kind of stupid and all that. But it does actually bring forth a character trait in Emma that basically was not talked about. And that's her lack of backup, as in friends, of course. Because we've seen Emma basically go through parts of Degrassi without a best friend, especially season 4. Basically, the third episode was when Emma basically lost Liberty and Manny as best friends. Now, of course, it's a little bit off because some people will probably say, isn't it the second episode? Because the first episode was a 1 hour one. It depends on how you perceive it, like all that. But they did split it up, I think. Right? I can't remember. I don't know how they did it, but anyway. So yeah, so basically throughout season 4, I don't know when she got Manny and Liberty back as friends. I think Manny, it was when Secret came out, part 2. I think that's when Manny finally decides to snap at Emma, saying that why is she with Jay and all that and all that. I think she was genuinely concerned about her. I mean, I think Manny more than Liberty wanted to be friends with Emma, and I think that when they realized how bad Emma had it after, Rick nearly killed her, they figured that Emma didn't have a friend and all that, and that was one of the biggest mistakes Emma made was turning off Manny and Liberty towards her because it changed a lot of things. So yeah, basically, yeah, Emma was not the best friend to Manny. She had the right ideas, but in the end, it basically backfired. I think Emma probably, if she wasn't chasing friends, she wouldn't have found Spinner. And I'm like, really, Emma and Spinner, really? That was so random and a one-off. Anyway, number 2 is Maya and the roof. Okay, so basically, to boot, Maya in season 12 had a relationship with a boy named Cam Saunders. However, she also had something with one guy named Sig Novak. Basically, Sig and Cam were beating up on each other. Sig was basically pushing Cam to the limits, and Cam punched Sig out during a Spirit Week competition. Cam got in trouble, got suspended. Maya didn't want to have anything to do with him, but then Cam manages to get Maya to realize that he's so bad and he apologizes and all that, and basically decides to sleep over. But then he leaves the Matlin household. I guess someone probably kicked him out, but anyway. Maya gets a text message from Cam saying that he's going to bring back Hoot, a stuffed owl that Maya won at a carnival, to her. But then Cam decides to break off with Maya, saying that it's not worth it anymore. Maya looks perplexed. But the real scope was that basically this was the last main message Cam sent to Maya. And coupled with the fact that Sig basically told Cam that Maya's life would be better off without him. I mean, like, Sig, what a jealous prick. And basically, Cam decides to kill himself. So basically, Maya isn't too sure about it. Of course, Maya gets told by Simpson after Eli spots Cam's body. We don't know how he killed himself. Did he hang himself? Did he slash himself? Did he even hurt himself with garden chemicals and drank some of it? It's possible. Basically, what ends up happening is that, Maya seems to be indifferent towards Cam's death. And she makes the thing at his eulogy basically saying that, he didn't have to kill himself. He was being selfish and all that. She would have helped him out a lot if it wasn't for his problems and all that. And of course, I think Sig realized his problems and told Maya that he may have killed Cam. But Maya said, I doubt it completely. So basically, she didn't like Cam breaking up with her and all that, the way he did. And then basically, Maya soon found out she couldn't live without Cam. And basically, she goes on a diatribe saying, he broke up with me over a text. He didn't even do it face to face. And I'll never be happy again. Man, it sounds so whiny when you think about it. And even though Maya had relationships with Miles and Sig for the longest time, Cam was still in her head. Season 14, she was with Miles, not just out of convenience that, she wanted to be with Miles for a friendship, a relationship. She also wanted to keep her eye on Miles because Miles was having troubles with his dad. He was taking drugs and all that. And Tristan's not really helping anything else, which is funny. Now, of course, Tristan was mad at Maya because he thought that Maya was going to steal his man. But anyway, Maya was just worried and all that. But of course, what we didn't know was that Maya had issues with Cam in her head, picturing Miles jumping off the banister and all that. So she still had Cam in her head. She never told anyone that she had problems with Cam. And, she could have just said something. But I think in the end, she didn't want to seem weak-minded. So basically Cam was always stuck in her head and all that, even though she was with people. And a lot of people probably would have been upset that she was dating Sig because he's the guy who was the last person to talk to Cam and basically lashed at Cam and all that. But I think Maya was also wanting to have a relationship with Sig because she knew that he wanted to get out of the gang and she wanted to help him out. But then, of course, season 2 comes along in next class, and there's a bus crash that Maya, Tristan, and many other supporters of the Degrassi volleyball team are going to a big game against Northern Tech, and then basically, all of a sudden, they're going to crash. Lots of people get hurt. Maya gets hurt somehow. Tristan is in a coma, and Maya basically takes it upon herself to realize that she's just bad news. So basically, Maya goes through a depression angle unlike any we've ever seen. Basically, she just couldn't get out of her funk, no matter what people did to help her out. She decides after befriending Syed and basically with death porn and all that, she decides to finally want to be with Cam because she realizes that she just wants to be with Cam. So that's what she does. She decides to go on the bus, put on headphones, and take some medication and all that. Wash them down. Basically, she is ready to go with Cam. She gives herself 20 minutes, but then when nothing happens, she basically says, I can't do anything right, and leaves. Not realizing that some drugs need more time to kick in and all that. And then she decides to go off to the roof and knock herself off. Miles has a play based on Tristan saying, I'm woke, or something like that. I'm awake or something. And then Sig and Esme figured something fishy was going on with Maya. And how they managed to find her on the roof, I don't know if there were any clues, but she was on the roof and then the drugs kick in and she's starting to gag and all that. Basically, Esme knows what to do because she saw her own mother kill herself in front of Esme's eyes years ago. So basically she said that we can't make her throw up because she might choke on her own vomit. We got to do something about it. And thankfully she goes to the hospital. And then, of course, Tristan makes that comment after he wakes up from his coma saying, I want pizza and all that. And people were freaking out because it's like, he did it at the worst possible time and, when Maya needed it the most. But to me, it's like Tristan may have had coma brain. That does happen sometimes. Thankfully, though, everything else is better Maya spends season 4 trying to make herself better, and she does in a sense. Grace helps her out with things. Maya does have issues because, Sig, she accepts Sig's prom invitation, though Maya doesn't feel that way. And Esme's upset that Sig wants to go to the prom with Maya, especially after she helped Maya out and Maya's stealing her man from her. But what Esme doesn't know is that Maya was trying her best to get Sig to be with Esme, and she felt like it went off the ship. Grace basically calms her down and basically helps her at graduation, and Maya does her due diligence. She goes to the Sig to California and she gets Esme the help she needed. But the main question I feel is, what if Maya was never found on the roof? Never mind the fact that what if Maya actually decided not to go down the dark road in season 3? But what if she wasn't found on the roof? Simple. She would have died. But the question, is open and shut. But no, because how would Degrassi have moved on with the Maya situation? How often will she be mentioned and all that? I feel like there would have been a 2-part premiere. The first 2 episodes of Next Class season 4 would have been paying tribute to Maya and basically trying to get Maya's life together and all that. And how, to me, it's questioning why she would be worried about Tristan, because Tristan was such a shitty friend to Maya and all that. But you also got to realize that Maya has this perception and all that. And I think Tristan apologized for his bullshit to Maya, and basically Maya accepted it. But you never know. Like, yeah, it would have been one of the most tragic deaths in Degrassi history. I mean, it wouldn't be as tragic as JT's stabbing death. It probably would have been the second most tragic Degrassi death ever. I mean, I know Clothes in Degrassi High was tragic enough with the suicide, but Maya was a well-beloved character and well-hated, but, the good outweighs the bad, if you will. Okay, so that's what if number 2. What if number 3 is basically about Shane. Now, we never got to see Shane until the 11th episode of season 1 when he impregnates Shane? Spike. So basically, they go to a party, Spike ends up getting pregnant, and people think that she couldn't get pregnant the first time because she had sex, but Spike's mom said that there's a 1 in 5 chance you can. And then basically Spike goes to the clinic, finds out she's pregnant, and basically her parents support her. And basically Spike's into parenting class with an Eggbird and all that. But Shane doesn't seem interested, and basically, Spike was not too happy with Shane. I think mostly with the fact that Shane refuses to tell his parents that he impregnated Spike. So basically, Shane, after a blow-off with Spike, decides to finally tell his parents everything. And then a few episodes later, they go to a dinner. Spike's parents and Shane's parents. And basically, Shane's dad basically goes up and says that basically, you don't have to worry about Shane anymore. You carry the baby, you might have an abortion, but it's too late for an abortion in a sense. You put it up for adoption, Shane will be sent to a boarding school, and you'll never have to deal with him ever again. We soon learn that Shane's dad is a minister in a church and all that. And Shane basically snaps on his dad, basically saying that, I was never good enough. You always put your pride up with my 2 older brothers and all that. And basically, he said, you just want to get rid of me because I'm not good enough. And so you'll never have to deal with me ever again because I'm not up to Carl's, or I don't know what his second brother's name was. So basically, he tells off them and saying that basically the only reason why you want to get rid of me is because you're so ashamed of what I did that you can't go out in public and all that. Mom can't go to bridge, and basically, Dad's doing it to save his own bacon as a minister and all that. Ministers have a code of conduct too, if you will. Now, I'm saying minister because it's from Pentecostal church or something like that. It's not Catholic. That would be priest. So basically, he tells his parents, let me help this kid out. Let me prove I can be a good dad and all that. And so basically, Shane gives half his allowance to Spike every week as child support and all that. Spike still doesn't want Shane to be anywhere near Emma and all that. But Spike doesn't really have a choice because when Emma's babysitter had to go to a family emergency um, Spike ends up having a kid come over during a Christmas party, and basically, everyone's fawning over Emma, and then Shane finally holds Emma for the first time. Now, Snake feels that Shane was usurping responsibility and all that. But the problem was that because, of the problems with Spike and Shane and all that, and Snake didn't know, basically, Shane was not told to be anywhere near Emma, although Shane wants to help Emma out best he can. But then Shane decides one day to not give Spike any of his allowance. He's going to spend it on concert tickets. Spike is furious. He goes to the concert. He gets told by, I guess, a guy named Luke. I'm thinking Luke, yeah, to take some acid, and then basically Shane walked home. And then we find out that Shane was found underneath a bridge, still alive, but he's brain damaged. Of course he would be brain damaged. I mean, like, falling off a bridge and surviving without much injury, that's a rarity, man. So basically, Shane is so scrambled with his mind. He goes to a special school with kids with brain problems, mental disabilities, all that. So basically, Shane is seen with a walker and all that, alerted by Tim. Is it Tim? I think it was Tim, right? Tim or Luke, whoever it was. I think the person who gave the acid and all that took him to the Degrassi Junior High prom, I think, out of sympathy and the fact that he was worried about being charged with a crime because, he was the one with the acid. So basically, yeah. So Shane basically walks with. He's only given one episode in Degrassi High when he bumps into Spike and blurts out some stuff and all that. But with a brain injury and all that, you can't really think about what you're saying and all that sometimes. So basically, Shane and Spike go for coffee, but then basically, if that's it, nothing. We don't talk about Shane. And then all of a sudden, when Emma is about to have a new sibling, she wants to know about her real dad, knowing that Spike is her stepdad. But Spike gives no indications whatsoever, and nobody helps her out. So Emma decides to dig through the alumni stuff for Shane, finds Shane, and basically wants to be with Shane. She does have a bit of a problem because Shane is kind of mentally challenged in a sense. He lives in a group home and all that. So basically, Shane and Emma have a thing, and basically they talk to each other. But basically, Shane somehow gets Emma's contact information and basically goes there and lashes out at Spike after the fact that he sees Spike and Snake in pictures, and they're supposed to be together because in his mind they're still together, and they basically don't want to do anything and all that. He knows he has a daughter, but she never visits him. But of course, Emma calms Shane down. I know she threatens him by saying that if you hurt my mom, we'll never speak again. But anyway, yeah. So Shane basically knits something for Spike, and then that's it. We don't talk or see about Shane ever again, and it was sad. Well, of course, the what if is what if Shane didn't fall off the bridge? How would his storyline with Spike have been? That's hard to say in a sense because a lot of people might be speculating on what it is and all that. And I didn't go with the Degrassi Reddit for ideas and all that. I should have, but never mind. To me, it would have been harsh. I mean, Spike would have really been mad that Shane refuses it. Basically, it would have been common knowledge that Shane refuses to help the baby out. Maybe she tells his parents everything. But here's the thing, though. Could it be that Shane's parents didn't want Shane to do anything with the child and all that? Maybe they wouldn't have cared if Shane didn't want to deal with Emma and all that. Maybe they were happy that Shane didn't give in to Spike. That's the kind of vibe I'm getting from it. I might be wrong, and I should be wrong, but that just doesn't make sense. But anyway, yeah, it would have been nice to follow up with Shane and Spike, especially in the Degrassi High era and all that. How Shane keeps trying to want to be with Emma, and how Spike pushes him off because he's a deadbeat in a sense. But Shane probably would have been in deeper trouble because Spike's parents probably would have said something about his lack of accountability and all that. I don't know. This is too hard to tell. what the narrative would have been if Shane still was a lot like still went to the concert, but he didn't fall off the bridge. So anyway, thanks for watching. Have yourself a good day.